back. This is part two of my little journal. It's going to carry on from the Friday the 28th up until the 5th of um, May when I moved. So, Friday the 28th, if you saw the first video, that video was slightly too long. I didn't realize it was going to be that long because I waffle on because there's things that went on, and it's kind of like you kind of want to explain so that way you understand actually what's going on inside, and that's exactly what I did. So hopefully this one's not going to be too long. But all right, Friday 28th. Um, I was out the cell today at 9 o'clock. Today there were fish dishes. Had sardines and couscous. Um, the hot meal was fish, potato, peas, and carrots. Had to fill in another form for credit. Not sure why. Put in a request for library books. Must be returned by 19th of May. Met my POM, which is my prisoner offending manager today, Mr. Q Como Ashcrew. Had a short meeting regarding the release and tag. Um, Managed to poo a little today. Because you're constipated when you get to jail, man. I'm telling you now, like, it's not easy to go to the toilet. Not easy. It's not as easy as it is when you're out here at home or in the comfort of your own home. It's not easy when you go in there. Like, I mean, I was locked up with another guy. So, and on top of that, you had like the stresses. You had the um, I wouldn't say stresses, but like you there's a lot of things going through your mind. So your system is totally different, and the food that you eat is totally different. So yeah, took me a few days, but look, it says there on the 28th of May, little one. Still, all right, carrying on. It says still awaiting the big one, the big poo. That is. I was out of credit that day, the 28th, and I hope tomorrow from credit will be topped up. Hoping to do the maths and English assessment and to do any activities available. I've asked Mr. Q if me and Mr. Pat are able to work in the kitchen. Um, phone credit. Let me talk about phone credit. Like, right, what money you come in with, that goes straight onto your privates, and you've got this phone credit where you can top up to whatever amount it is you're gonna whatever amount it is. Honestly, whatever amount it is. Um, £20 will last you 5 days, more or less. It depends how many calls you make to your friends, to your family. I mean, you remember you've only got 10 minutes on that phone, 10 minutes on that landline phone, and then it will cut off, and then you can call back again. But the tariff or the rate of it is like it's actually quite high. It's much more. You know what? It's like calling one of those 0800 numbers. So even though you're calling a mobile number, it feels it is that when you're in there and you're making them calls, like that 10 minutes takes off £1. Literally, if you're calling a mobile number, and like you make a good how many calls, it's gonna go like that. Bang. It's literally gonna go. Um, so what I would suggest is that you try and get that voicemail. Um, and anyone can apply for it, by the way. Anyone who knows a prisoner inside, please apply for it. Please do, because everybody needs a call. Every prisoner in there um, wants to talk to someone. Like it's not just the people that's inside that they want to talk to. They actually want to talk to like friends. They want to talk to family. They want to talk to like people who can actually help them inside. Like because it is uplifting. It is uplifting for whenever I manage to talk to someone. Like I had my family that I was talking to, but when I managed to get my friends on, and then when we managed to when my friends managed to meet up together and talk. Not even talk, sorry. Managed to meet up with my other boys, um, and then we can talk on the phone. Do you know how uplifting that is? I like, because obviously you're inside and you don't get to speak to them in a way. Like in my eyes, I didn't really want to bother anyone. I didn't want to put anyone through that pressure and start thinking about me inside. Okay. um but there's a close group of friends that I've got that I would want to hear from and talk to, and just make sure that they're okay, because I know what's happening with them on the outside. Not only that is that, like, I love my brothers, man. I love my boys, man. That's family. Like, since young, since young, I've known my boys since then. So, like, to be able to speak to them is it helps lift you up. Um, even whatever time of day it is. I would say it is better to speak to them in the evening, rather than during the day, because obviously during the day they're busy doing their thing. Obviously in the evening they're free now. They can get to speak to you. But that's the best time to speak to your friends, your boys. Um, just catch up, just catch some joke, and even if it's for that 10 minutes, and like, literally you've got only a limit of 10 minutes, and then you have to wait another 10 minutes, and then you call back again. Um, it helps you through that time, because, like, if you're not getting visits, for instance, I mean, like, some in there were saying that they've not had a visit since they've been in there. No, like, I understand they ain't got no family. Friends wise, friends, right? I know my friends have their own jobs and have their own family, and they do their thing, and I'm not going to interfere with that. I'd never interfere with that. So when I would call, I'd call during in the evening, and if you could sort of set something up, if one of my boys could set something up where all the boys are there, like, that is the greatest feeling, to be able to talk to the man's, your boys, your family, all in one go, kind of thing. It's not advised, because it might hinder your sentence. By the way, because, like, obviously when you put down this person's phone number, he's not supposed to add, or you're not supposed to have any other one, like, around. But um, I'm guessing that it weren't monitored, which it weren't, and because it weren't monitored, it gave me an opportunity to be able to talk to family, friends that I wanted to hear from, and you know, if they were there at the time, it is an uplifting thing. So, phone credit wise, your phone credit won't last that long. um, Phone credit for me, like, because it was only done on the Mondays. I was on the D wing, but on the B wing you can do it twice. That was the difference. So you can actually top up twice. So you'll be able to do it on a Tuesday, and you'll be able to put it through on the weekend as well, like a Saturday, and it will be on. But um, on the D wing, when you get moved off the induction wing, it's not like that. It's only fixed once a week. On the D wing, it was on a Monday, so on a Sunday, right? We get this emergency credit is what it's called. I don't know why it's called emergency, because it weren't emergency. At the end of the day, we're putting it in. We're putting in our credit. Like, we want to transfer £20. That's usually it all depends on each prisoner, by the way. So if you've got enough money in your privates, that's how much you'd be able to put on. Sometimes more. Ideally, you want more, because it needs to last you. I mean, for me, Monday to Friday, that was £20, and then, like, by the weekend, I sometimes I'd be out of credit. I literally out of credit, and obviously you can't talk to no one on a Saturday, Sunday, so you're on your own. You're on your own. So it's a bit of a juggling act. This specifically if, like, I knew a lot in there who didn't have family and friends, and they couldn't transfer them any kind of sort of credit, so they would rely on the canteen. So canteen, you can put like a pound credit, so you can let's say you can want to put, it's only a pound, £1. Um, so you be able to put like £2-3 on there, depending if you're a wing worker, then whatever you're making. I mean the wing worker jobs, for example, like the cleaning jobs, is like £10. That's how much you get in a week. So that's how much you'd be able to spend. Plus like £2.50 as well. But a pound of that would go to you certain um, utilities like your phone or your TV. That's literally what it would be taken out to. So like, do you know what I mean? If you didn't have a TV, for instance, like one of their guys in there, he didn't have a TV at all. He just wanted that extra pound to be able to make a call to his loved ones. Like, you can see the sacrifices. I saw the sacrifices. Sorry, that men were going through inside to be able to make calls, because like obviously their family outside didn't have the money to be able to transfer into their account. So, and on top of that, it's like even the food, for example, like essentials. Um, I wouldn't say essentials because you're getting fed, but extra other stuff like chocolates, biscuits, crisps, all these luxuries. There you go, luxuries. That would be a problem. You won't be getting none of that, none of that at all. So phone credit is a big thing, especially for the youngers. Like for like my generation and younger, I would say that yeah, it is a big thing, because obviously we're in that generation where we're up to date with the phones and being able to contact and being able to talk to our families consistently, and well, not consistently, but at least regularly. So it's a hard thing to do, like when you don't have your mobile in there. I mean, when I never when I'm used, like I wouldn't say I'm used to it because I got my business phone and I needed that. But when I lost that, um, it wasn't really a wake up call. It was just the fact that I'm losing out on talking to people. My business phone has been seized by the police since December, and it still ain't been returned. But I managed to live without it. It wasn't an essential for me because I had other things that I prioritized. Um, Hard sacrifice to make, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm more thinking of my kids. I'm more thinking of the situation that I'm in, and like at least wanting to see them, um, and being able to sort of connect with my family. And the thing is, on my social medias, right, I've got a lot of like these groups. Um, at the time, before I was arrested, it was mainly like these um, Fathers for Justice. It was Families Need Fathers. Those kind of groups that I would be able to talk to, and I would be able to help get some information and things like that. So, not being able to have your phone is, I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, you are able to buy a phone inside, um, a smartphone inside, but weren't paying that price just for that short period of time. That's for sure. And I'm not going to say who was selling this and who was selling that in there, but it is widely available inside. It's widely available inside. It was crazy how how you can near enough get everything that you're not supposed to have but for inflated price. Um, but yeah, coming back to the phone credit, yeah, that's what I had to do on that day, Friday the 28th. So Saturday the 29th of April, I was at the cell at 10 a.m. Today. A lot of posts this morning. So I received my initial category outcome C, category C, app from return to transfer £50 from privates, meaning that I put through something on the 28th about £50 being transferred. That was authorized, um, stamped for phone credit, um, yet still unable to call family. 48 hours now since not spoken to everyone. Also returned form from dad. So when you put like your family's numbers down, right, you need to put their name, their date of birth, their address, your relationship to them, and their mobile phone number. And each one of that, there's a separate category for each one. So mom, dad, sister, it all has a separate one. Then friends, it all has a separate one. Then your spouse or your partner, and then your children. Like especially for visits, is another one as well. For example, so that you'd have to fill in that application form. This is what I'm talking about, apps where it's paperwork apps and it's all papered. You have to write it out. So that's the hard thing about scrubs, because like obviously these paperworks will get lost, whereas like I've been hearing from other cellmates who've been transferred in. Now they had well, when they were like, let's say Wandsworth for example, like they had the system already. They had the tablet up. They had the tablet up, and you could do everything on a tablet, man. So why is this not the same in scrubs? Because everything's being lost, everything's not being done. Um, but I understand it's pre-COVID rules. I understand that they want to have some kind of control over prisoners. So um, it's something that needs to change in there, to be honest with you, because like it makes life harder for the prison officers. It makes no, it increases anxiety and stress for the prisoners, and it just creates tension towards everyone in there, and that's how it is at the moment at Scrubs. That's how I saw it. That's how I could define it at Scrubs. That because of certain things not being up to date, and where these other prisoners are coming from a different prison and have seen that this HMP is up to date, and they come to Scrubs and it's the worst of the worst. It's like way behind. It it's an issue. It really is an issue. Um, but Saturday 29th, yeah, ain't still ain't called the families. 48 hours now since I last spoken to everyone. Oh, so that means that I had credit, but I was out of credit on this weekend because it was only £2. I remember that now. Um, um, I had an early hot meal today at 11 o'clock. Chicken, roast potatoes, carrots, and peas. At 3 o'clock, lunch was served. Large cold sausage roll. Next week canteen, more food needs to be ordered. Um, hashtag HBD, my brother Dan. Um, I know my boy's birthday was on the 30th as well, and I literally remember that weekend actually where I ran out of credit, and I couldn't call anyone. I couldn't call mum, dad, sister. They were only numbers I had at the time, and that's the only numbers authorized as well. So, but dad's number didn't come through. Neither did mum's. It was only my sister's. Um, so and that Sunday as well, the following the next day, that was my boy's birthday. Um, I had plans for my boy's birthday actually. I mean, I was talking about it with his brother. He was here just a few days ago. Like I was saying that I wanted to do the barbecue like the way he used to do the barbecue. If I was out, I had already planned that I was the one who's going to buy the meat for the barbecue. Um, but things happened, and I was locked in. And again, I hold no grudges to whoever put me in there. I'm not that type to have that hate, because I know what hate can do to a man or to a woman. It will consume you so much that the only thing that you can think of is hate for that person. And you know it will take you some time to actually have some kind of remorse, no matter how bad or how serious um, the crime was. You could even say, um, I don't have no hate towards that. My time is done inside. I was I was inside there for my boy's birthday. I was inside there for my auntie's birthday. I was inside for my birthday. I still hold no kind of hate or like deep hate or deep grudge or anger to those people that put me in there, because like in a way I deserve it, in a way I don't deserve it as well. In a lie, I never deserved it to go inside. Um, but I have no, I don't know, man. I'm a child of God, and it's not something that I've been grown up to know. To be honest with you, it's not something that I've been on it. I've been there to live through, and I'm glad I ain't lived through that, and I don't want to live through that, because it's not something that any person should have to go through, um, and let alone like hate someone for it, because I ain't got no time for that. I ain't got time for hate. Like from my side, the family it's all been love, friends. It's all been love. Like, um, people that know me, like literally know me, they know that it's out of love, purely out of love. I've got 6 kids. I ain't got no time to hate. Um, my children not going to be born up into hate, because if that is me, then or any kind of parent, then you're gonna have problems with the children. And there's a lot of things that come with that, because you're not focused, you're not thinking of how to look after your children properly, or how to manage your children properly, or how to manage your situation with your partner or your ex-partner, um, because of that bitterness, because of that spite, because of I ain't got time for that. I really don't, because the most important thing at the end of the day is the kids and my kids. Um, so that's just my take on remorse. You could even say, or forgiveness. Yeah, you could even say it is that's just my take on it. But all right, Sunday the 30th. I was at the cell at 9 o'clock today. Um, I said the timings here are inconsistent. So lunch was at 11. I had steamed fish, potatoes, and carrots as a hot meal. Um, but I shared the meal today with Mr. Blendman. Veg and rice is what he had. There was a shock today about Mr. Blendman's immigration, because he came in to speak to him, and I'll be doing all I can to help Mr. P with this. Um, we'll be doing all I can. In the meantime, all I can do is give my support and a shoulder to lean on. Tough news to hear. Sunday, sorry, kit change today. Managed to get to the toilet and release, a bit of a relief. Still, I have no credit on my phone. Still, I haven't managed to contact home. Menu choice came in today. Week commencing 0805 2023. Yeah, I remember that day actually as the immigration day. So if you saw my third video about immigration, um, that's what it's about. My guy came into the cell, took Mr. Blemon out, and he was saying that he might not, he might be deported back to his home country because even though he's got an um, indefinite stay to remain here in UK because of his sentence, um, he's gotten immigration have an opportunity to deport him. So again, this is if you hear back on my video of the last 24 hours in prison, then you'll understand that. But Monday first, early association today at 9 o'clock. Very inconsistent in timings as well as the meals. Received a hot meal today at 11. Had veg pasta. It was actually very, very nice. Woke up early today in hope that phone credit has been topped up. Still no credit. Very upset that I am unable to call anybody currently. Not sure how this top up system works. We'll be making a complaint tomorrow. Spoke to a few prisoners today. They have come to me for advice. Sad to hear their cases. Oh, yeah. So like even when even on the first day at the yard, people were hearing me like talking about how I'm representing myself. So hence why people were from literally actually Sunday as well, but Monday even as well, and onwards. Like people are asking me like, how you represent yourself? How is this? Like, how do you do this? And they've got cases which is totally different to my cases. Okay, they've got um, they were found with weapons. They were had intent to harm, um, drug abuse, uh, selling, conspiracy to sell. There was a whole load of other stuff. So um, you know what? Yeah, like when people come to you and ask you like how you represent yourself, you actually it means that you've touched someone. Get me? It means that like it's possible because it is possible because how real is it? Like they didn't realize that I've been going through all my trials alone. I never used no solicitor. I never had to pay out for no solicitor. I never got no duty solicitor because I didn't want one. I didn't need one. I don't need a parrot. Yeah, I don't need a parrot to. You know what? When I say a parrot can only say X, Y, and Z. Can only say A, B, C. Whereas if you represent yourself now, you can actually go further into what you actually want to say. So this is what I was trying to tell all of these guys in the prison, and even on the D wing, the same thing. Um, it's about representing yourself. You can't rely on these duty solicitors who are, like I said, employed by the Metropolitan Police to help make you fail. And everyone understands that everyone fires their solicitor. You don't fire your solicitor, you just get rid of them because it's true, they're freelancers at the end of the day. They're all freelancers. So if they're not doing their job, you can get rid of them and you can just, but then you'd have to represent yourself, especially in that moment in time. So in my case, it was all about speaking up for myself. Um, Whether I knew the system or not, I learned that, I had 4 trials now. So I learned what to say, how to come across. You can't be emotional. Please don't be emotional. Don't ever be emotional in front of the judge. Don't be emotional. Um, in your court case, like you're there. If you're there to defend yourself and you're there to represent yourself, then you have to be able to um, conduct it properly. It's the best way. Like, conduct it properly. Know what you need to say. Come across clearly. Your evidence needs to be like, on hand. It's different when you're inside, obviously, because that means now you need to like ask your family, your friends to go through all of that, get you the evidence so you can represent yourself. But if you go through it yourself and you go through the trial and you ask for like a bail conditions, like you can actually get that because um, you're asking for it. But you need to be like, I see the mans that, obviously they're young and they're not happy with the system, so they talk out about the system and they come across so negative that it's not the way. Honestly, honestly, like learn what you're in for, learn how to counter it, and learn how to speak that lingo that they speak in the court, because it's only for your benefit at the end of the day. And like I said, unless you've got a proper lawyer that's really, really representing your case or really, really representing you properly, then um, and that costs money. Yeah, that costs bucks, that costs pounds, serious thousands, for these solicitors to get you even on bail, for example. So like you can go through that yourself, but you just need to relax. You need to be able to understand the system and speak to the sort of judges in the way that, and you need to address them properly. Um, it's not hard. It's like being in school, for example, Mister, Miss, in that case, Your Honor, Madam, Sir. Even Madam and Sir is more than enough. You don't need to call them by Your Honor. You don't need to say none of that stuff. Just Sir, Madam, please hear me out, you know, etc., etc., etc. Um, you know, and then end it with like, if I receive a bail's condition, and they, fact finding or cross examination, we'll be happy to go through with that, and on the next court case at your convenience. These words, like, I know it's big words, but at the end of the day, like vocab, the dictionary, learning that dictionary helps you a hell of a lot. English literature, English was one of my fortes in secondary. So like, I'm not illiterate. I can write down, like, paragraphs. I can write down. I'm pretty sure that I can do bars, but start rapping. But nah, that's not the way that I come across. I want to come across, because that's not my forte. But represent yourself means a lot. Means a hell of a lot. Hell of a lot. Make sure you get yourself a good lawyer. That's all I'm saying. If you got a serious case on, then get yourself a good lawyer. Otherwise, even still, like, you can represent yourself in court until it comes to the fact finding hearing, or cross examination is one where you need one, but it will be a fact finding first, then a cross examination, then a final hearing. So that's usually the process of it. So in a way, you can bypass like at least two of them. Um, even the final hearing, you can speak on it yourself and just fire your solicitor if you think that he's not good enough. But you need someone who's going to be able to cross-examine somebody properly, because if you get emotional in that cross-examination, or if you're restricted where you're not allowed to cross-examine that person or that defendant, then you need that solicitor. But even on that day, like, you just need that person for that day at the end of the day. Again, I can't stress to you that it's just a freelance thing where you need them only for a specific cause. And I'm not there to put money into these duty solicitors' pockets, because they don't represent you properly. So, and they work for HM. They work for Metropolitan Police, and they're gonna get you into HMP prison. So your choice at the end of the day, guys. But from my advice, represent yourself. Represent yourself. It's just a bit of reading. That's all it is. So at Tuesday, 2nd of May, I was up at 6:45. I checked my phone credit, and there was still nothing. WTF? What the fuck? I was out today at 10. I spoke to officers and Miss White, who's the SO for the wing, whole wing, by the way, that is, or CM as well. But she was only 2 stripes, so I was told to wait till tomorrow. Education assessment came today. Mr. P and I went through it together, completed, and should be picked up tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Basic level 1 and 2 in maths and English. I had another veg meal today, rice and dal type, and I was checking again this evening for pin credit, and still nothing. So I remember what happened on this week is that I put through pin credit. I asked them to transfer like £20, and I understand it was the weekend, and I understand that Monday the 1st was a bank holiday, and then on the 6th was another bank holiday because that was a coronation. So it's messed up when it comes to things like that, and I'm telling you, these prison officers, these crews, I ain't gonna help you, and they never help me. And it's just a basic thing of not having any credit to phone people. So got to wise up in there, to be honest with you. I learned the hard way, and then I pretty much took that on throughout the rest of my time in there, to be fair. But all right, Wednesday the 3rd, I was up at 8 o'clock today. I checked straight away to see credit, still nothing. We were out today at 10 o'clock. Straight into the shower. Spoke with Mr. Whelan regarding credit. Cleaned the cell with Mr. P. Managed to call my sister today, roughly about 1 o'clock. So happy to speak with her. Forgot she's on holiday in Spain. She was in Spain, in Malaga. I called home and spoke with Dad about Forest. So happy to hear from my dad. He spoke also with Mr. Blendman. We received our canteen. So on the on the B wing, you receive your canteen on a Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So we received our canteen at 6. I'm not happy that Mr. P never got his sardines, his tomatoes. He's missing sugar. But we were all like little kids on Christmas Day. We had coffee and noodles, and it felt like being at home. Missing everyone. Bit of a shock today. Received a letter that I am ineligible for release and I face deportation. I'll be challenging this and raising a huge complaint on the immigration officer. And I had chicken and rice today. So yeah, Wednesday, got a letter. That's usually the post. And that was about that immigration. Again, you'll hear from that on my previous video on the 24th, on your last 24 hours, about this immigration officer. I'm not even going to go into that because it's something that's been done and dusted, and it's something that I personally sorted out myself anyway. It's fine. So you know, I managed to prove that I'm eligible for release, and I got released on the 30th of May on tag, HDC, home detention curfew, on the tag. So I'm all right with that. I'm not going to go into much of that. But Thursday the 4th, this is the day after we had our canteen. So canteen is when you order stuff the week prior. So that canteen sheet will come on a Thursday. Not canteen sheet, like a menu sheet, and you choose your bits that you need. Shower gels. You choose your veg. You choose your bread. Choose like anything that was on on that sheet. Choose vapes as well is another thing. So you'll be able to get all of that. So and then that'll be on the Wednesday at 6 o'clock when it arrives. 6:30 probably when they open your doors and like they give you that your parcels, 2 3 bags, whatever it is of how much you ordered. And yeah, you are like a little boy on Christmas Day, man. Just getting your stuff and look, getting to eat some noodles, for example, or getting to have like to eat some onions, getting to have garlic, getting to have your cheese, so like your jam, coffees, and stuff like that. So it's a big thing, and I do recommend like if you find the right partner, like you share your stuff, man. Share your stuff. At the end of the day, there's no how do you say it? There's no it's not a bad thing to do, man. You need to share your stuff because you're depending on your cellmate. But my cellmate was blessed. I mean, we shared like he bought the veg, and I bought like all the noodles. I bought the coffee, and like he bought the biscuits, and he bought like the creams, for example. And he's Rastafari, like he's a proper blessed man. Yeah, so there were certain things that he would have, but you'd get extra so we can share. Do you see what I mean? I get extra things so that I can share with him, and we just split it down the middle. Like the sardines, we get 4 sardines. Like I get 2 sardines for myself and two for him. But at the end of the day, like what we'd do is like we'd open up 1 sardine, and then like he'd have that half of the sardine, and I had the other half of the sardine, and that's how we'd split our food. Because at the end of the day, it's in the outside world, it's like a room share. You get me? Yeah, like a student. So that's how it was. And I think that's how you should be, depending again, like, it just depends on the type of person you're in with. But um, if you find that right person, like it's good to be kind, man. It's good to be kind because makes a whole lot of difference. But all right, Thursday the fourth. The taste of coffee in the morning was so refreshing, like I was at home. We were out today at 9 o'clock. Mum and sis upset about the decision. My mum went to the registry office to inquire. My sis paid for the birth certificate. Good news, Mr. Phil came today and spoke with immigration. I was taken off hold. Um, HDC, Miss Graham, will be sending me details regarding it. I'm so grateful he has sorted it as I was depressed and stressed. I couldn't sleep last night thinking of it. Thankfully, my sis emailed me and it came in on that same day through the post on the 4th. Um, and when he spoke with me, had lamb and rice today. I spoke with Miss White for jobs in the kitchen, and me and Mr. P will be working soon. Chef happened to come in and pick up his papers, and me and Mr. P post it because like Miss Smith wrote it on a post-it, pink post-it, stuck it onto like that piece of paper that he'd come up and get. Especially I don't know what that paper was, but whenever the chef would come, prison officer chef, that's it. That is, he'd come and get some piece of paper, and I saw him like the week before. Didn't know who he was, obviously. Still new to it, but I saw that he put our names on it because I made sure because me and Blemley went into the office together and we spoke with Miss White about it. But yeah, he took that. Looking forward to kitchen work, and I hope it's not kitchen porter work. Because yeah, kitchen porter work's all cleaning, and I've been through that cleaning all them massive pots, all them dishes, and like being in through that steam environment. Like if you've worked like I worked at Hilton, Wembley. Um, I've worked in that porter section, and it is. I haven't worked fully in there. I covered, but it's a lot of steam. It's a lot of work, and your hands are like brittle. But last day before we move to B Wing, which where I'm gonna end it on this Friday the 5th. It was an early start today at 9 o'clock. Straight into the shower. Uh, yeah, Mr. P didn't receive his canteen sheet. Supposedly that's a normal thing on the wing. So like supposedly that you're supposed to get your canteen sheet um, on a Thursday, like I said, and then you get to choose your stuff, and then Friday you need to post it. So he didn't get his canteen sheet because it was somewhere else. So mistaken identity or wrong cell number, whatever it is, he didn't get his one, so he didn't get to order anything. But yeah, we went straight um, downstairs to do that. Good news, we were being deported to D Wing at 3 o'clock. Um, yeah, literally at 3 o'clock, they came to us and said, "Yeah, well, you can move to D Wing." We were told we got accepted for kitchen work. Fake, fake, friggin' news. These screws are fake. We could have stayed on B Wing and been cushy and got managed to get work on there, but what these this screw told us is that yeah, you're moving to B Wing, sorry, to D Wing. You've got a job in the kitchen. Like they hyped it up that yeah, it's a good move. It's a good like it's time to move. And when we got there, it weren't even work for the D Wing. Work for the kitchen at all. We had to wait for another week. I had to wait for another week before I even got a job. So can you imagine the lies inside? I've dealt with lies outside here and false allegations out here, and for you now to make another um, false claim that yeah, you got a job now and it's all right, you can move. And I knew full well that we could have stayed on B wing and the induction wing, just moved downstairs because we are, you're at fours, threes, twos, and then ones. So you could have moved either one of those landings. And what a joke! What a joke! This crew is such a lie, man. I mean, I won't ever forget her face as well. I didn't know her name because she was like fairly new. I understand. She wasn't one of the regular staff on there, but you're a joke, screw. You're a joke. But all right. So we packed up our stuff and walked to D Wing. We passed the kitchen on the way. I had a single cell room and it was left filthy. Started cleaning. Need to brush, mop, and sanitize. That day I had battered fish and potatoes. Feels very different. Feels very different having a single cell, and I managed to poo today. Fattest log in years. Laugh out loud. Um, cell cell number D118. So D meaning D block, one meaning the one landing, and 18 being the cell number. So guys, that's my time on B wing. Um, my short time on B wing, I should say. So again, a lot of things that happen on B wing. Um, a lot of inconsistencies on B wing. Um, if only it was a perfect world inside, like where you know I do feel it for us man in there, like us prisoners in there, where you can't get your answers. Like I totally understand that, and it's so demeaning. It's so like here you can follow up on it, like you get a response, but there you're not gonna get a response, man, at all. You don't get responses. You don't get a straight answer, and I understand it's a B wing. I understand it's a prison, um, but if it's genuine as well, specifically if it's genuine, like, you're not getting no answers for it, and that was the hardest thing. And again, that was like the immigration stuff, for instance, or like the little mess up with the canteen sheets, or like the inconsistency in the food. But I mean, the thing is, like, we got to learn that on the weekends, for instance, in fact, every weekend, like you get your hot meal. at 11, and then you get your sort of cold breakfast meal at 4 or 5 o'clock. Whereas Monday to Friday, you get your breakfast and your ration pack at 11, and then you get your hot meal at 4. And things like that. Like, it's true. You need to find out. You really need to check on it. You need to find out what's going on, so that none of this anxiety, none of this stress comes to you. So you're just aware, innit? Do you know what I mean? But again, like, depending on who you're speaking to, like, the screws don't really tell you much. Certain wing workers on there, they won't tell you much either. They make you suffer. I mean, you are fresh meat. You're new in there. You're fresh at the boat, fresh in. So it's about being able to, like, literally follow up on things, and I think that's one big thing that every man should do. If you, again, I don't hope anyone to go in there, but if you watch this video now, at least you've got some idea. But I'd like you to follow up on things, and just keep asking from the first day you're in there. What is it Monday to Friday? What is it on the weekends? What is it like on a bank holiday? um, you know Speak to people, man. Speak to the prisoners. Speak to especially the workers who are always on the wing. Speak to them who have been there for 2 3 years working on the wing. Whether they're gonna come up to you or not, as long as you're courteous and you have, like, respect and manners, and you're holding up for yourself, you'll get your answers. You will get your answers at the end of the day. So, your induction wing, which is what these two parts is about. The induction ring is the most fun part and the best place to be with. So if I had any suggestions for you, I'd stick on the induction ring, as long as you can. It is the most